if they're not about the business of true development and success of their congregations, their communities, but they're more about self-grandization, I believe that's how you say it, their own personal glorification, their own economic growth, their illumination within the society. If that's their aims, then they're not really there promoting the best for the people. And I know what you're trying to say about us collectively, working collectively in order that the collective, the commonwealth, would improve. And I'm struggling with the concept of us working collectively for the commonwealth
You think it's not
because
going to be a possibility?
not in the United States, because the United States is so capitalistic. Maybe it's a possibility in Africa because a lot of the countries in Africa are not necessarily driven capitalists and individualists. Whereas in the United States, that's exactly what it is. It's all built on the British model of individual property rights, individual success, individual freedoms and rights. Whereas a lot of countries in Africa are still about the collective.
Where that would need to be explained, my brother, what you are going through in the United States is what we are going through in Africa is the same, basically the same identical thing. What I think the Europe, because now when we are talking of the United States, I usually say this and I want to repeat it again. We're not looking at people other than the European. These are European that we are dealing with. And the other people on the other end as Africans. So let's forget about this color thing. We're not looking at some black babies jumping down from the sky. We are looking at people that have been reported for several thousands of years. These are the people that are also having a counter today in the United States. They are Europeans and Africans. So we also know ourselves. I think by the time we begin to take the argument to this level, then we can be looking for a way to find a lasting solution. In that, I want to repeat again, the kind of world we are hoping for is not where you are not going to have enemy. There are always going to be the people who will be creating division, who will be creating enmity among the groups so that they cannot work or collaborate among themselves. This is happening in the United States. It's happening all across here in Europe and also in Africa because it is sophisticated, the operation that is in place. But despite that, despite this, because the chain is not on our hands, I don't know if you can suggest some strategy to the people that are listening to us or how to build trust on ourselves again. Because I say this often, no one is coming to save us. No one is coming from anywhere. We are only going to save ourselves or we are going to perish. There is no one coming to save us.
You're absolutely right. Let me give an example of, I think, what you're talking about, when I'm talking about the collective, the Commonwealth. I mentioned to you, Atlanta has the busiest airport in the world. It's been under the control of Black leadership for 50 years. The majority of the millionaires up until, I would say, probably 1990, who were created in the city of Atlanta, were created through contracts at the airport. The Atlanta airport is constantly going through renovation and construction. And you're talking billions of dollars. But that money lies in the hands of Black people. And one of the negatives that the state of Georgia, who is white controlled, despises about Atlanta is the Atlanta airport is the largest employer in the southeastern United States. It is the largest revenue generator in the Southeast, and it is under control of Black people who are getting other Black people jobs and getting them contracts. And it is not well received. So if it's not well received by the majority, and then you have jealousy within the Black community of the success of the contractors at the airport, on one hand, you're winning, and then on the other hand, you're losing. And that's my struggle globally for the Black man or the Black people, is that we have to grow up and mature and look at the commonality and the commonwealth of the entire group. Because like I said, Nigeria, everybody in Nigeria should be living good. Everybody in the Congo should be living good. The wealth and the power should not lie in the hands of 5 or 10% of the citizenry. And you don't have a white man to blame.
I like that. I like that, my brother. I like that very much. That at a point, we are going to take responsibility. At a point, we as a people are going to take responsibility. As long as there is no physical chain on our neck, on our leg, on our hands, we are going to take responsibility at a certain point. Do you think, for example, that maybe if we start training people about entrepreneur within the African community, by that I mean both in diaspora and at home, that things could change? Because that is an idea that I used to have. I am actually deviating from it now. That I used to sort of be very vocal, voicing out against the government, that the government is not doing this, is not doing that. Yes, the government have a lot to do for the people. But now I'm changing from that. The people need to do for themselves. So do you think maybe some individual who know, start passing on the knowledge to the people, we might have a different Africa, a different Africans, wherever we might be? Because what is happening in Africa is also in Europe. It's also happening here. Because, people are very complex animals in that it is difficult for you to just change overnight. If you are coming from Nigeria or coming from Congo, you are in US or in Italy, you don't just change to become like Italian or change to become like the people in the US automatically. It takes a lot of time. So do you think maybe by giving people the right knowledge about entrepreneur, of being self-reliant, of networking and then collaborating among themselves, having trust, because we have millions of people, even in the diaspora. I'm trying to look for hope. I'm trying to look for strategy that we can succeed. What do you see there?
I see it if you can have a group of like-minded people. I don't think you're going to have it in a country, but let's say a community. You're in Italy. I had a cousin got married in Venice about 2 years ago. Let's say you take a community in Italy, and in that small community, the shopkeepers, the school, the villages where the people live, they're in communication and organization with one another for the education of the children, for the safety of the community, for the public works for the community, for the economic growth of the community. And let's say that community is a community of 5,000 people. They can collectively work for the commonwealth, the common good, and everybody can rise just like the tide in the ocean. All the ships rise when the tide comes in. I think you can do it on that scale. And as they say, I guess the proverb is it takes a village to raise a child. I think it takes a community to raise a people. And it has to start in a small collective where the people are on a common mission for the development of their community, which means every individual in that community will be a profiteer of the success of the community.
Now, for people who want to connect with you, who want to know more about the Truthsayer podcast, who want to follow you, or if you have a business there, you have something that you are selling, how can they reach you? Use these few seconds to promote yourself.
Well, I would say go to the Truthsayer report. It's on iTunes, Apple. It's on all of the major podcast networks. And what I'm going to start doing is featuring local businesses as well as myself. But my point is, I want everybody to come to the Truthsayer report, listen to the podcast, and have information that will help better you in your endeavors. Because I think if you realize you're a descendant of a Black queen, then the way you view yourself will be totally different.
Thank you so much for that. Now, what would be your last statement here, considering the fact that the conclusion is about the fact that the people have the power, the people have the possibility of changing. If we can do something for ourselves, then we can change our situation. So what would be your final statement to conclude it?
To conclude it, I would say the Truthsayer report is about empowering people with knowledge. in order that they can better understand the world that they live in. And I always like to use the quote by Joseph Stalin. His quote was, the masses, oh, what jackasses. And his point was, if I control the information I give you, I can control the way that you think. So my desire is to provide you with necessary information and knowledge that will help better drive your life.
Mr. Jeffrey Hawkins, the host of the Truthsayer podcast, thank you so much for the sharing today. I really enjoy it. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. And you take care.
You too.